Do you know if your vote counts? I mean, the vote you cast might be counted, but is it secure? Is it fair? Or are we letting loopholes and weak systems decide the outcome of our elections while pretending that everything's just fine? Today, we're diving deep into voter ID laws, why they're more important than ever, and how conservatives like you can make sure your vote actually matters. Hey guys, welcome back to She's Right. I'm Lana, and if you're tired of watching elections swing one way because of shady rules, manipulation, or simply a system that doesn't care about fairness, you're in the right place. Today, I'm not sugarcoating anything. We're going to talk about voter ID laws, what they really do, why liberals hate them, and why conservatives absolutely need to understand them if we want elections to actually reflect the will of the people. Voter ID laws. The term itself makes some people roll their eyes or gasp in horror. It's voter suppression, they scream. But let's stop right there. Let's call it what it is, a common sense measure that protects elections. When you go to the bank, you need ID. When you go to board an airplane, you need ID. Why shouldn't it be the same when you cast the most important vote of your life? The truth is, voter ID laws prevent fraud. They protect legitimate votes, and they make sure that when you vote, your vote actually counts. Here's a shocking fact that most people don't hear about. In states with strict voter ID laws, reported cases of fraud are virtually non-existent, but the system is stronger, more reliable, and more transparent. Yet liberals keep fighting tooth and nail against them. Why? Because a secure system might threaten the narrative they're pushing about who should win the elections. And that's the fight we need to understand. If you agree that every vote should be secure, hit that like button right now. And if you want more videos exposing the truth behind election systems, subscribe and turn on notifications because this is just the beginning. Now, let's talk about the real power of voter ID laws, shaping elections. You might not think that a simple requirement for a photo ID can change the outcome, but it does. It doesn't just prevent fraud, it changes the conversation around voting integrity. Conservatives know that fair elections mean fair results, and fair results mean policies that reflect the majority's actual choice and not a distorted system. When voters know elections are secure, trust in government increases. When the system is loose, manipulated, or unverified, cynicism grows and people start questioning whether their vote even matters. Think about it. If one state lets votes slide through without verification and another state enforces strict ID laws, the results are obviously skewed. Not because of who votes, but because of how votes are counted. And that's a reality that conservatives simply can't ignore. Now let's tackle some myths. Voter ID suppresses minority votes. Let me break this down. Studies repeatedly show that the vast majority of voters of every race already have ID. We're not talking about making it impossible to vote. We're talking about asking for identification the same way you would for any other major life activity. The real suppression happens when votes are allowed to be cast without verification, because that's when fraud can creep in. In the last decade, thousands of votes in several states have been questioned. And some of those votes were actually fraudulent, and the media barely covered it. Why? Because it challenges the story they want you to believe. Comment below if you think voter ID laws are a common sense way to protect our elections. I read every single comment, and we need to hear your voice in this really important conversation. And this is where it gets critical. Conservatives need to understand not just that voter ID laws matter, but how to defend them. First, know the laws in your state. Every state is different. Some require photo IDs, some allow alternative forms, and some are fighting tooth and nail just to get basic ID laws passed. Second, get involved. Advocate. Educate your friends and family. Third, monitor the process. Know how your state conducts elections, how ballots are counted, and what the safeguards are. And here's the kicker. The future of American elections could depend on whether conservatives actively protect voter integrity today. If we sit back and assume someone else will do it, we're already losing. I want to share a story with you. In one swing state, election officials discovered ballots being submitted from addresses that didn't even exist. That's right, fraudulent ballots. They caught it, though, thanks to voter ID checks and verification processes. Without these safeguards, how many illegitimate votes would have tipped the scale? Too many to count, and that's why every conservative voter, activist, and citizen must understand the stakes. Every election has mistakes. Every election has vulnerabilities. But without strong ID laws, those mistakes can become disasters. Of course, you'll hear critics say, voter ID laws are racist, they're suppressing voters, they're unnecessary. And that's exactly why we need to speak up. Because facts matter more than feelings. Fraud exists. ID laws protect against fraud. They don't discriminate, they secure. Pretending otherwise doesn't make elections fair, it makes them fragile. And fragile elections hurt everyone, including the communities the critics claim to protect. Share this video with someone who thinks voter ID laws are bad. Let them hear a conservative perspective that they might be missing. So, what's next? Conservatives need to focus on 3 things: awareness, advocacy, and action. Awareness means knowing the rules. Advocacy means pushing for legislation that protects your vote. And action means participating, monitoring, and holding officials accountable. It's not enough to just vote. You have to make sure that your vote counts and that others' votes are legitimate too. Without this, the system is vulnerable and the results just can't be trusted. Some states are considering making voter ID laws even more stringent. Others are debating weakening the laws. The decisions made in the next few years could determine the outcome of national elections for a decade or more. Are conservatives ready to fight? Here's the truth. Voter ID laws aren't controversial because they're unfair. They're controversial because they work. They protect democracy. They ensure that your voice isn't drowned out by mistakes or fraud. And conservatives, if we want to win, if we want fair elections, we need to understand, defend, and implement them right now. Don't wait for someone else to do it. Get informed, stay involved, and make your vote count the right way. I'll see you next time. Bye.